You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Rapping with Dr. Jacqueline connects you with experts from all over the world to help you take charge of your career, your business, and your life. Rap along with us. Visit drjacqueline.com to learn how to become a guest or a sponsor. And now, the doctor is in.
Hello, good afternoon, good evening, good morning. Thank you for joining us wherever you are in the world. You are watching Rapping with Dr. Jacqueline. I have a story to tell, except it's not my story. I'm your host, executive producer, director, and broadcast engineer, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. And I love this show because this is really an opportunity for my guests to be really authentic and transparent in sharing something about their life that they want us to know. Maybe something we didn't know, or maybe something that they've kept to themselves for a long time. Maybe they've had a transformation. And I think that's my guest today. That's his story. He's joining us from Cyprus. Let's welcome Dino. Hello, Dino. Welcome.
Hi, Jacqueline. How are you?
Doing very well, thank you. It's nice to see you. And I was going to give your last name a try, but can you say it for us, please?
Yeah, so it's Ermogenous.
Ermogenous. Okay, it's actually not that difficult. Yeah. Ermogenous. So, as you know, the name of this show is I Have a Story to Tell. And I've seen your background and we have some of your pictures, and you've really had an incredible transformation. And before we share with the audience what exactly that is, I'm going to spotlight you. Why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, cool. So I was born in London. Moved over to Cyprus at a young age, at 5 years of age. Was brought and raised up here. And then after that, I moved back to the UK for university at age 18. Before that, I had a car accident, but probably going to go into that a little bit more. And that kind of triggered me to, start my transformational journey. But went to university and then was a little bit, I tried a few things, a few paths, did a few jobs, and one thing after another, and it all led me to becoming a fitness trainer and coach. That's pretty much it, summed up.
Thank you so much. And we think about how important fitness is and nutrition is and mindfulness, especially now that we're, coming out of this pandemic. So you've had a major transformation, and you alluded to your car accident. I'd like to just put up one of your photos if you're okay with that. We've got two. Sure. One includes the, I'm assuming it's an X-ray, and another picture of you. And then the other one is how you looked before and how you looked now. So which one would you prefer first?
The second one, I guess, the before and after would be fine. Perfect.
All right, folks, get ready for this transformation. Wow. Oh my gosh. Incredible. So, Dino, share with us the picture on the left-hand side. And for the folks who are on the radio who can't see the images, we have one picture of how Dino looked at one point in time and how he looks now based on, I'm assuming, nutrition, fitness routines, etc. Yeah. So when was the one on the left-hand side taken?
So the one on the left-hand side was taken when I was 20. That was in university. So I was holding on to, extra body fat. I wasn't massively overweight, but definitely some body fat there. And I was just unhealthy. I wasn't living a healthy lifestyle.
It's interesting. I'm going to keep the image up for a moment, because when you look at the picture of you on the left-hand side, to your point, you don't look like you're grossly overweight. You look like, okay, he's a nice looking guy. He's maybe got a little bit of extra weight on him, but you still looked good there. And now on the other side, on the right-hand side, complete transformation. I mean, we're looking at, is that an 8-pack I see there? It's 12. That's really amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a long journey. I made a lot of mistakes, learned from those mistakes, but yes, I wanted to achieve the transformation, but I think with going to, exercising your body and fueling your body with the right foods, it just helped me keep focused. And when everything else wasn't going the way that I wanted it to go in other areas of my life, the fitness was there for me. It was kind of the place where I used to go and just release my energy. It was a form of meditation for me in a way. So it's a very powerful thing just to help me help me stay grounded in the chaos of everyday life and the mental battle that was going on a lot of the times. Does that make sense?
Yes, it absolutely does make sense. And, I'm just going to put this up for another second. So when we look at you here on the right, I mean, obviously that takes a lot of work, right? It's not just genetics. It's, you have to completely change bad habits, eliminate them. So what was the catalyst that really started you down this line of transformation? You mentioned some times in your life when maybe you didn't always make the right decision, or maybe you took a path that you shouldn't have. What was the first step to get you on this new path?
So I broke my spine, and you mentioned the X-rays there, and it was a difficult, very tough time for me, because when I broke my spine, I was advised, but like before that, I was quite active. There's good weather here in Cyprus. You go outdoors and play sports, and I was encouraged to do that from a young age. But then when I had this accident, I broke my spine. I was devastated, because the doctor told me you cannot play any sports again for the rest of your life, and you cannot lift any weights or go to the gym for the rest of your life. The only thing that you can do in terms of physical activity is do swimming. And for me, that was sports and things like that was a big thing for me. Not so much the gym, because I didn't get into it at that point. And also mentally, like it left me depressed. I was bedbound for 9 months. I couldn't walk. I needed a Zimmer frame to get around. So for someone at age 18, where you're like thinking about your future and what you're going to do and the career that you're gonna take up, it kind of like I couldn't think about all those things. Like for me, like my future wasn't going to be the same way I envisioned it in my head before I had the accident. And then, I started getting into rehab, and I developed some strength. And then, I looked at the gym, and I remember, myself just standing outside the doors. So the gym was attached to a swimming pool. And I remember the doctor's words, you can't go to the gym because it may cause further damage. But I looked at the gym, and I did want to, build the transformation, and I needed to do more in terms of activity, I felt. So I went in there and I tried out a few things, and, like I said before, like I was making mistakes, and I had to test and experiment different things. But I got to a stage where I built my body up, learned from different mentors and things like that. But again, it really helped me with the mindset, and think, okay, there is a future for me. Like, don't give up, keep going, keep pushing, and it just gave me that drive and that focus. So I can apply that in other areas of my life, like, work, university, all these different things.
That's truly brilliant. And by the way, thank you so much for coming here and sharing your story with us, because you certainly have been through a lot, and you are definitely an inspiration. Sure.
Anytime.
I'm wondering to you, when you shared what your doctor said, the first thing that popped into my mind is, why do physicians or people in positions of power, maybe teachers, why do they tell us what we can't do? Why do they place that there? And when you think back to that time, how much validity did you put into what that doctor said? Obviously, you went into the gym, you took the next step, but did those words keep you back for a certain period of time because you kept hearing them? You can't, you won't.
Yeah, it did. Initially, it definitely did. And, obviously, my parents heard this as well from the doctor. So my parents were telling me the same thing. You can't do this, you can't do that. You have to be careful. You have to play it safe. But, at the end of the day, no one is in your body. Your body is your own body. Someone can't feel your body. Someone, if that makes sense. And a lot of the times, doctors, obviously, you need to listen to a doctor and you need to take their advice, and they're going to advise you on medication, things like that, which is fine. But when it comes to the physical side of things, so there's stories of people that in similar situations to myself where they couldn't walk, and the doctor says you never walk, and it was a mindset thing, and they were able to get up and rehabilitate and do things. But it really is the mindset and in wanting to do it, like wanting to become better, and yes, paying attention to their advice, but also listening to your own body and understanding what you're capable of at the same time. So I understood in that moment that, I am a little bit, I am capable of a little bit more. So why not just push myself a little bit? Why not just push myself outside of my comfort zone a little bit and try different things? Because what I always say to my clients is, if you don't try, you'll never know. And it's this thing that keeps people in their comfort zone. They're unwilling to kind of break out and take that leap and try different things. It's scary, but in my case, look what happened there. So
Absolutely. And when you think back to when you decided, okay, I hear what you have to say, but I'm going to take some steps that I need to take for myself. Did their attitudes change? Did they then become supportive? With my parents, once they saw what I was getting up to, and they were scared, and even to this day, my mom tells me you shouldn't be lifting that weight and doing this because of your back and all these different things. But I think, once they, saw me in there and, being more active and happy as well, happier, they were definitely more supportive. That's great news. Glad to hear that. Let's take a look at this other photograph that we have. Tell us what we're looking at, please.
So these are titanium pins, and these pins were drilled into my lower spine. So what happened was the L4 was crushed. So that's where I took the blow, and it was fragmented into different pieces, and obviously very painful, couldn't walk and things like that. So what they need to do is drill in these titanium pins between L3 and L5 to support L4 and give it time to heal for the bone to come back together. But the bone is not the same size, it's become smaller. But if the blow was any higher up, obviously the damage would have been worse. So I'm very grateful that it was lower rather than, I took the hit on lower spine rather than the higher spine. And then on the left, obviously, after some years training and lifting weights and applying myself.
That's amazing. I want to talk a little bit, you had touched on this. I want to talk a little bit about the pain. So you had the physical pain, but you had the mental pain. And I'm wondering, was there any anger in terms of, you're in this accident and, now you might never be able to walk. Like what did you feel?
Well, when that, I wasn't the one driving, so it was someone else driving. Mm-hmm. So obviously there was a lot of anger towards that person. And, I couldn't forgive him in the beginning. It was just impossible for me to forgive him because, he just wasn't, he shouldn't have done the things that he did that evening. He was, going too fast. It was a slippery It was raining, sorry, and the road was wet, and he shouldn't have been going that fast on that road. So yeah, I was angry towards him, but now it's a different story. That anger has gone away because, you know, if it wasn't for that accident, I wouldn't be in the position I am today, helping all these other people with their fitness and their nutrition goals. So I think what happened was for a reason there. And yeah, I mean, mentally for me, apart from that, in that moment, I was feeling depressed. I was feeling like the future that I envisioned can no longer be possible because of what has happened to me and my broken spine, and the motivation as well. You know, the motivation to, you know, do well, the drive, the ambition, it kind of faded away because I spent, you know, 9 months in bed. I couldn't do anything. It was quite difficult.
I'm sorry they had to go through that. It sounds like your spine was broken and your spirit was broken. And
Right.
I'm wondering, the recovery, the incredible progress that you made, was that tied at all to you letting go of that anger that you had toward your friend?
In a way, yeah. I mean, at first, no, but as I continued along my journey and I continued, you know, moving and continued the rehabilitation program and then continued doing the weights and everything like that, that anger wasn't there as much. It kind of faded away a little bit because I got to a point where I became more motivated through fitness, and that motivation, I could use that motivation to, you know, do well in other areas. So that future that I envisioned for myself came back, and I thought, okay, you know, this can be a reality again. But it was only through fitness.
Fascinating. Thank you for sharing that. We have to take a break, but when we come back, I'd like to move to how you work with your clients and the services that you provide and how people can actually have their own transformation by working with you. Does that sound okay?
Yeah, sounds good. Brilliant.
Yep. Perfect. All right, stay with us here on I Have a Story to Tell. We'll be right back.
Have you ever tried to build people into a team? Maybe you've tried bowling, or ziplining, or paintball, or pizza making. These events can be fun, and they can make everybody happy for a while. But in the long run, do they really turn people into a team? Now, imagine the members of your team scattered all over the world, working from trains and airplanes, from remote offices, client locations, or working from home. How do you build a winning team when your playing field might be the entire world? With BCAT, we've created the answer. Working completely online, no matter where your people are, we turn them into an engaged and motivated team in 3 simple steps. First, we use the BCAT survey, which they can take online, anywhere, anytime, to reveal the North Star that represents their shared pride in the work they do. Next, we work with your team's leaders and stakeholders to convert that North Star into a role target, an ideal virtual person who represents your team's best self, living its best day at work. With our internet tools, we hang your North Star high in the sky, where everyone on your team can see it, no matter where in the world they might be. Then we guide and help everyone on your team in creating personal plans to align themselves with your team's North Star. We help each of them develop the positive habits that, day by day, every day, steer them closer to your North Star, aligning themselves with your team's signature dreams and ideals. And over the long haul, we offer programs and coaching techniques that help them stick to their plans. Remote team building isn't hard, it doesn't take long, and it's just as much fun as pizzas and paintball. You build winning teams around a purpose, not a place. BCAT is the answer.
Located at 121 Haddon Avenue in Westmont, New Jersey, is Margies Jewelry, artisan jeweler. Margie's been in business for more than 30 years. She works with her clients to create custom pieces of jewelry to reflect their personality and help them make their own bold statement. Starting in the renowned Jewelers Row in Center City, Philadelphia in 1988, Margie works directly with her clients to develop one-of-a-kind pieces such as necklaces, engagement rings, wedding bands, unique watches and tennis bracelets, as well as a myriad of rings and earrings for everyone in your family. She also has worked directly with Dr. Jacqueline over the years, creating unique pieces of jewelry to reflect her personality. She does pearl stringing and repairs on site at 121 Haddon Avenue. Call or text Margie at 215-384-7155. Margie's Jewelry is open by appointment only. Make your own bold statement.
Ladies and gentlemen, here it is, the most listened to radio show on the planet. Even the other stations are tuned in too.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Rapping with Dr. Jacqueline. I have a story to tell. My guest is Dino Ermogenous. No, I said it wrong. Ermogenous.
That's it.
There it is. He's telling us a fascinating story. He was with a friend. They were in a vehicle driving. Conditions were not great. The friend was driving too quickly, and Dino ended up with a broken spine and was given news by his physician that he may never walk again. He may never be able to participate in any type of fitness-related activities, and he was all about fitness. And so when he could have just had a broken spine, a broken spirit, and just believed what he was told, he didn't do that. He took the steps that he needed to take to bring himself back from what was obviously a horrific situation. We do have a comment here from Ian Turner. Hi, Ian. This is the most amazing journey for such a young man to have to deal with at this time. Learn from the past, but believe in the future. Great. Thank you, Ian. So, Dino, now you're helping other people. So tell us a little bit about what it is that you do as a coach.
Right. So, after a few things, after my accident, I did tried a few jobs and did an office job, but I always wanted to do something that was involved in doing something physical, something in sports. Was working out at a gym, and there was a guy there who, taught. There's people surrounding a machine taking notes. I asked him what they were doing, and they're doing a personal training course, and then he told me that I should get involved there. So I got involved and did the course, and then went into a gym in London called Gym Box, and started my career there, helping people in the city of London and Bank. People that are very busy, just get in shape, figure out how to, optimize their diet, help them optimize their diet for energy and hunger. And I just wanted to impact more people. So I took things online, right? Because you can reach more people online, and started developing a coaching program online, which I do now full time. So I advise people on, obviously their nutrition and their exercise, but also help them acquire key skill sets and tools so they never have to struggle with this again moving forward. So, one of the skill sets that I help people build is, certain mindset around nutrition. And inside of that, to not label foods as good and bad foods, to know what to do in different situations when it comes to your nutrition, having contingency plans in place if you've had a blowout on the weekend. And if you have these skill sets and you have these tools and you learn what to do in different situations where life gets really busy, you can keep things consistent. You can keep things going. And that's the name of the game, right? Consistency is king. So if you are consistent, you'll be able to maintain the results. But it's not always about going 100 miles per hour. There are going to be moments where you're going to have to dial it back. But knowing, when to do this and how to do this is really the skill sets that I help people learn. And that's what they pick up inside of my program, really.
I love how you use the word learn, because if we want to change, we have to learn. We have to understand, what are we doing today? What are our habits that are not working?
Right.
And how can we change? So how can we grow? One question I have for you, because I hear this a lot. I was a personal trainer earlier in my career, and somebody would say to me, I can eat whatever I want if I keep the amounts, the portions smaller, but I don't need a lot of cardio. I could just do a few hundred sit-ups, or I can do some push-ups, and I'll just eat that pizza. I'll eat. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, you can eat whatever you want, and as long as you are in a calorie deficit, you can still lose weight. And obviously, if you do a little bit of exercise as well, that's going to complement that. However, you also have to think about, your energy levels, because if you're eating just whatever and there's no structure when it comes to your diet, you're not in a routine, your energy levels aren't going to be where you want them to be in order for you to, produce the way you want to produce inside of your working day. And also, if there's no structure, you're not following some kind of guide, you're going to have to think about it a lot. So having structure and having a guide takes the thinking out of the equation. And not just that, you're fueling your body with the right nutrients, so you have that energy. You're able to also perform a lot better when you are exercising, which helps as well, especially when you're trying to build muscle. That's an important thing that we need to do.
When you had your own transformation, and I just want to bring up the pictures again because it's pretty amazing. How did the way you looked at yourself from a confidence perspective, how did that change, if at all?
It changed a lot, because on the left-hand side, I struggled with my confidence. It's if you're not looking good, if you're holding on to a lot of body fat and you're overweight, it will impact your confidence on some level. And it did for me. But when I, achieved this transformation, things changed. Newfound improved confidence, which was amazing, because I was just expressing myself more in different situations. And I was just feeling good. I was feeling great. I was the feeling when you fit into the clothes that you want to wear, and you're wearing a t-shirt which is, fitted rather than, baggy, or too tight, right? Because you have, belly fat there. It's amazing when you get to that point and you fit into those clothes well.
I collectively can hear a lot of people groaning when you said belly fat, like, oh, like how many times do people wear their shirt over, it's hanging out because they don't want to tuck it in because of the waistline. And, let's be real, folks, as we get older, it gets more and more difficult. So I think, Dino, what you're helping people do is to establish patterns of behavior that as we get older, that we can be healthy, we can look better, we can feel better. Right.
That's exactly right, because that's the key thing. In order to achieve sustainable results, I mean, you can jump on a diet and you can lose a lot of weight quite fast, and we see that out there by different programs. But what they fail to mention is that they place people in very low amount of calories, and they're burning through muscle a lot of the times as well. Their energy levels aren't where they want them to be. They're just feeling drained, and it's way too restrictive. So a lot of times they bounce back, they put the weight back on, they revert back to their old eating patterns. But if you're also, learning about daily systems to help you build the habits that you need in order to sustain the results at the same time, so you can shift your behavior and shift your identity, is going to be a lot easier for you to sustain the results that way.
Thank you, Dino. Can you share with us what are some of the changes that you encourage people to make? Like, for example, I know that for me, if I want to have muscle tone, I needed to give up sugar because my skin wasn't looking the same way. So sugar to me is not good. What are some other suggestions you might have when it comes to nutrition?
So when it comes to nutrition, there's a few things. One key thing is that you must be prepared. So what do I mean by that? You don't necessarily need to prepare everything for the entire week, like you see on the internet with all these different boxes and stuff with meals in them. I'm just saying that you need to have the correct foods, whole foods, nutrient dense foods, and enough of these foods in your immediate environment, meaning your kitchen, your cupboards, the office, so you actually consume these foods. Because if they're not there and you don't prepare that way, chances are you're going to reach out for something that's ready made, for something that's processed, for something that's easy that you can grab on the go. So the one thing that I would say is, you got to prepare for things in advance. And the next thing I would say is, stop looking at the scales as a way of, okay, this number has gone down. That means I've made progress. It's gone up. That means I'm not making progress. There are a lot of other areas in which you're making progress in, and look towards those areas when the scale isn't showing you that number that it wants to show you, in order for you to stay motivated. If that makes
sense.
Great
point. So, thank you so much. Because I think it's so easy, especially during the pandemic, you just reach for something in a package, right? You don't feel like cooking anything. You don't feel like preparing anything. You go into the freezer and pull out something. And most of those products and packages, they're loaded with sodium. They've got, and even sugar that's I forget whatever it's called, trans fat. Trans fat. We do have a couple of comments here. Let's take a look. From Ian, what are the healthy foods to assist in weight loss? And a follow-up question. At 70, I find it hard to lose weight. Thank you, Ian.
So the key thing, especially for, as you get older, is to make sure that you're hitting your protein target. It's something that I see a lot of people miss. So a lot of people that come to me, I say, well, everybody that comes to me, they're already in a calorie deficit. But the issue is that they're not eating the right types of foods, and they're not eating enough protein for the amount that they weigh. So this is key, because you want to be able to build muscle. You want to hold on to that muscle mass, especially as you get older, because the body starts to break that down as you get older, because you want to obviously have a good quality of life. You want to move well. In order to do that, you need that muscle mass. And also when you're digesting protein, it's around 30% is used. So if chicken, if you're eating chicken and that chicken is 300 calories, 30% of that 300 calories is used to digest that chicken. So you're basically burning calories just by eating certain types of foods, mainly protein. So protein is, especially for someone that's older, protein is, you need to pay attention to your protein and make sure you're getting in your protein.
When you're eating the protein, does it matter what kind of protein it is? For example, whether it's red meat or whether it's chicken or tuna fish, does it matter?
You just want to be aware of also the cuts of meat that you're having, because some of them are quite fatty. So the way I advise my clients to do it is, throughout the week, try and get in the lean meats, the chicken breast, the lean mince meat, these types of protein. Vary it, otherwise you're going to get bored of the same thing day in, day out. And have that, and then on the weekend you can be a little bit flexible and have a little bit the more fattier cuts and things like that. That's the way we do it, because fat content in some cuts is quite high, and that's going to affect your macros, and you may end up putting on pounds.
And something else that I've seen, not in regard to protein, but someone might be eating, let's say, a salad, and they're excited because I'm eating a salad and I've got some protein on it, but then they load it up with dressing that has a lot of sugar in it. and they defeat the whole purpose. Have you seen this before?
I mean, yeah, I mean, the condiments and all these different things, they contain calories. And those, you think to yourself, okay, if I put a little bit on here on this salad, it's not going to make a massive difference. But if you're putting it on your salad every single day, that will add up over the week. That may add up to 600 calories. That you don't really need those 600 calories. So empty calories is the term that I use to describe that. Same goes for other things, like the small things that we don't think that actually matter. Grabbing that. A lot of the people that I coach have kids and families, and when their kids are having chicken nuggets, they'll grab a chicken nugget from the plate before they put the rest in the bin and stuff like that. Or they'll have like a little chocolate from here, and sometimes they don't track that. And then I ask them, if you put everything, well, I just didn't put this in because I didn't really think it mattered that much. I say to them, look, I want you to track everything. So once they tracked everything and I took a close look at it, they were doing that consistently. And, that added up in one case, that added up to 1,000 calories of the span of the week, 2,000 calories the next week.
That's a lot. Yeah, that's a lot. What if you're watching your nutrition, you have good eating habits, but you just don't like to exercise?
Right. So, I mean, what is exercise? I mean, a lot of people, when they think exercise, they think, I have to go to the gym and I have to do a lot of cardio and I have to do maybe HIIT in order to burn body fat. But that is not the case. What's actually going to help you get more in terms of results is your daily activity. So the amount of steps that you do a day. If you get in your steps and you're hitting your targets consistently inside of your steps, because we have something called total daily energy expenditure, the amount of energy that we expend on a daily basis, and it's called your NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. It makes up for a larger part of that whole energy expenditure than the exercise. It's 15 in comparison to 5, I think it is, or 10 to 5, something like that. So if you get your steps in, that will help you lose a lot of weight, okay? And then you'll get down to that point, because your mindset might be, okay, I don't like exercise right now. And if you're overweight, that's probably how you're going to be feeling. I understand that. That makes sense. Okay. But when you get your steps in, you get to a point where you've lost that 20 pounds, you've lost that 30 pounds, you've lost that 40 pounds. You're going to have that motivation and you're going to have that energy, and your mindset will then change because you're going to want to take things to the next level. So your next thing in your mind will be, okay, I want to go into the gym now to get even more results. I've had that happen so many times with different clients. They're like, nah, I don't want to go to the gym. I don't like exercising. Okay, just do your steps. It's fine. But then they get to a point where they've lost that weight, and I'm like, should we try the gym? Yeah, let's do it. And they end up in the gym and they end up loving it.
So maybe it's possible that they were intimidated by thinking about going into the gym. Like, I hear this a lot.
Yeah,
I teach yoga, and people will say, I'm not in good enough shape to do yoga. No,
Right.
You don't have to be in any type of shape. You just have to give it a try. Start somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, I felt exactly the same way. Everybody starts somewhere. Everybody's, they go to the gym for their own reasons. They're a little bit overweight. They have some body fat. I was in that position. And then you see other people, in shape, and you're like, what am I doing here? I feel a little bit out of place. I don't know how to use any of these machines and things like that. But for me, it wasn't actually, what kept me there was the vision of the person that I wanted to become, the body that I wanted to build. And also it was, it's good to feel uncomfortable a little bit. Step out of your comfort zone. It's good for your mind. It's good for your body. You see growth that way. And, that was in the back of my mind as well. Okay, I'm going to stick it out because I know I'm going to see some change here. But that's totally normal. Feeling that way in the beginning is totally normal. But that's a good sign, because, it means you're feeling uncomfortable. It means you're in there and you're trying to make a change. So it's part of the process.
Thank you for sharing that, because I think we all need to give ourselves what I call grace. In other words, yes, it is going to be uncomfortable because you haven't done it before. And I think everyone's like, everyone's looking at me. No, really, no one's looking at you, right? Everyone's looking at themselves in the mirrr saying, oh, look how great I look, or look what I really need to still do. So don't be intimidated, because really no one is looking at you. A question I have, I want to reach for mine. What are your thoughts about people writing down what they're eating and writing down what they're doing to exercise?
I think that's a very important thing that you need to do, especially in the beginning. You don't have to do this for the rest of your life, but you need to do it in the beginning. And I'll tell you why. I always use the analogy of an Uber. In the UK, we have Ubers. Well, in America, you have Ubers. What am I saying? So you, if you want to order an Uber, you put in, if I told that Uber I'm in London, that Uber wouldn't be able to come and find me. But if I put in my postcode and my address and my house number, that Uber is going to come and pick me up, and then I'll see the route. I'll see how we're getting to our destination. I'll see the destination on the map and all these different. It will be laid out in front of me. So when it comes to tracking, if you're not tracking your foods, you don't know where you are. In terms of nutrition, you're not aware of how much more you need to eat to hit your targets, or what you need to take away to hit your targets. You're kind of in, no man's land. You're going into it blind. So it's essential. So you know what you need to do in order to hit your targets. And when you hit your targets, we know you do that consistently enough, you're going to reach your end outcome. So in the beginning, it's necessary. And also inside of that process, you understand the nutritious values inside of different foods. Meaning that, you know what should be on your plate. You'll get to a point where what should be on your plate in order for you to maintain the results. You'll go to a restaurant, you'll have an amazing time, you'll eat desserts, you'll eat alcohol and all these different things, but you'll know the next day how to plan out your nutrition, how your nutrition should be in order to offset that event there, so you can just get back on track and maintain, get back to where you were, if that makes sense.
Yes, for sure. Because there's sometimes we are going to be in situations where we want to celebrate a little bit, and we have to give ourselves that ability, but then we've got to get back on the horse, or whatever the expression is. I really like how you mentioned about writing things down in the beginning, because that is kind of where I am with some of these things that I'm writing down. So I already have the cardio piece, I think, pretty much nailed down, but I wanted to really take up the number of leg raises and push-ups that I was doing. So I have a goal for myself, which is 1,000 leg raises, and I want to do 500 push-ups. There's no award, there's no prize, but I'm writing it down so I keep myself to it. So at some point I'll get over that, and I won't need the book anymore, or I won't need to do 1,000 leg raises either.
Exactly. That's brilliant.
I'm wondering, how do you work with your clients? You talked earlier about going online. So what is the actual process for someone to sign up to be one of your clients?
So there would be obviously the initial consultation where I would ask people a little bit more questions about their current situation, where they want to go, if there's anything holding them back, things like this. And if I can see that the person would be committed to the process, it's a thing that's an actual priority for them at this point in time, then I can take them on as a client. But if it's not a priority and they're not committed, then obviously it's not going to work for both parties. After that, what would happen is they'll fill out some assessments. They'll start to log in some of the data in terms of nutrition. Their activity would be logged and tracked via a Fitbit, and then we'd sit down on a second call and just go through that data, and I would put together the steps, the plan of action that they would be working on over the next few weeks. Things will change week to week because different people adhere to different some people adhere really well, some people there's a few issues, there's a few problems. We always reflect on the data at the end of the week. So inside, once they've actually started the program, there's different touch points. So we have a weekly coaching call every week at 7 p.m. London time. There's a one-to-one coaching call at the back end of the week to reflect on the data. We use different apps. So I have my app, and then there's a nutrition app, and there's a Fitbit that streams data into my app, and then I am able to see and monitor all the data on my side, and give the client that necessary feedback that they need in order to, hit their targets and see the progress and results that they want.
Brilliant. Do you work with both men and women and people across all age groups, or do you have a specific age group you prefer to work with?
So it's men and women, and most of the people that I work with are over 35. Yeah.
That's interesting. So people before the age of 35, either they don't feel like they have ineffective patterns or behavior, or they haven't come to fruition yet, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's a different mindset, because when you're below, early 30s, in your 20s, you don't take health. I mean, some people do take health seriously, but there's also this mindset that, okay, I'll be fine. All I need to do is move a little bit and, eat the right foods. They don't have to put, how am I going to explain this the right way? It's just, it's easier for a younger person to get in shape. And a lot of the times they feel like they don't need the guidance. But if you've come to an age where you're 35, over 35, and you're still struggling, and you've still struggled to build the habits that you need to build, then that's a problem. That's an issue. Like, this needs to be addressed. Because if you don't deal with it then and there, and people realize this once you hit 35, okay, this is a problem now. People realize that, but before 35, they don't think it's that much of a problem. So when they're over that age, they think it's a problem, and then they're in that mindset of, okay, I need to do something about it, and that's where I step in to guide them and help them, if that makes sense.
Yes, it makes perfect sense. We're coming to the end of the program, and I think this is really important. I want people to remember something, that Dino, through no fault of his own, was in a horrific accident, and he broke his spine, and he was told he's never going to be able to get up. He's not going to be able to walk. He's not going to be able to do anything with his life, and he didn't let it hold him back. So everybody who's out there listening or watching later, you can do whatever it is you set your mind to. So, Dino, I'm going to spotlight you again. If you would just talk to our audience, for people who are really suffering right now, whatever it is, maybe it's financially, maybe it's physically, maybe it's mentally, what would you say to them based on everything that you've learned?
Well, like you said, Jacqueline, it's a mindset. It's a mind over matter game. And for me personally, the fitness side, the physical training, helped me keep my mindset in check. There was times where I was, flat broke, but the fitness kept me there, kept me on a level, it kept me pushing, it kept me trying, it kept me, going down different avenues and, trying different things. It's a tough time, with, what's happened with the pandemic and everything. And I understand that there's a lot of people out there, like you said, that are struggling and things like that. But for me personally, fitness saved my life. And I know for a fact that it can do amazing things for everybody out there. And, you can get involved in it regardless of what your background is, what your genetics are, who you are. It doesn't matter. Okay. You can still, and even if you don't access to a gym, you can still do something. You can still move. You can still, train your physical body. And when you do that, you're going to be feeling amazing. You're going to be feeling on top of the world if you do that consistently. And like I said before, I mentioned earlier, even if there's another area of your life, like your relationships, or something's happened at work, or, something's not going the way you want it to be going, and, you're upset, take it out on the gym, release that energy inside of the gym. The gym is always going to be there for you. Physical training is always going to be there for you as a way of, just letting go of these emotions, and just for you to enter a different headspace. And it's going to change your mindset and change your perspective on the different events that are happening inside of your life that may not be so great, that you think that may not be so great at that point in time. You're going to see the good in the bad through training your body, through, having a better mindset because of that as well.
I love that. Thank you so much. You get to take that stress and just get rid of it. And so then you can look at things with fresh eyes and a fresh perspective.
Exactly.
I was going to the gym. I actually was going to something called Solid Core. I don't know if you have that over there, but I was obsessed with it. I was going to 2 classes a day and upping the weights. And then all of a sudden the pandemic hits and I was 2 classes away from 300 in a year. And I still haven't been able to go back because of the pandemic. But my point is that I've been able to take this space that I have here and make it so it's my own gym where I do a lot of body weight exercises, planks and army crawls. And I got a trampoline for $55, I think. So little hand weights. So you, even if you can't make it to a gym, you can find ways to work out that you can do right at your home. Even yoga, you don't need anything to do yoga at your home.
Yeah, there's a lot of different, things that you can do. I advise my clients to have like a pre-ritual to help you get in the zone. Dedicate a certain time when you're going to do that, exercise, have a little pre-ritual. If it's caffeine, if it's your favorite song, to get in the zone, to push you. If you don't always make it to that session, that's fine. Just try and do it the next day. And remember, consistency is the name of the game, right? We're looking for, consistency rather than each day being perfect, because each day is not going to be perfect. You are going to mess up sometimes. There are going to be things that are out of your control, such as your schedule. That's fine. As long as you're consistent and you pick yourself back up the next day and just keep going and keep trying and keep giving it your best, that's all that matters at the end of the day. And you will get to where you want to be.
Very true. And I think something as we get older, we get this sense of wisdom where we know what we want to do, but we just need a little help. And we need a coach like Dino to help us change our ways, to help us learn new things. So please reach out to Dino. He is incredible. I just want to, my last question for you, I want to put this picture back up again, is if you would share with us obviously you're eating right, and obviously you're exercising. What can we do to get those abs? That's what I want to know. I've wanted those abs my whole life. I can't get them. And I know it's because of the way I eat. But what are some of the things that you do that are specific to the core, in addition to nutrition and cardio?
It's mainly to do with nutrition, and obviously, the cardio will complement that good nutrition. But it's also the way, like before, I think what people need to focus on is the person that they need to become in order to build the habits so they can then get the abs if that's what they want, rather than just focus on that. And, inside of nutrition, you need to build certain habits. But my mindset with nutrition is, look, I want to, be productive. I want to, have a good mindset. I want to show up as the best version of myself for my clients, for everybody around me as well. So nutrition is the key. Okay? And nutrition will impact your mood, will impact your energy levels. And of course, if you're consistent with your nutrition, it's very possible to get the abs as long as you're in a calorie deficit, as long as you're eating a diet that's mainly made up of whole foods. That's the key thing here with nutrition, and have the same thing. Have the same thing. Like, don't try not to deviate from the plan. Have the same thing, right? Have the similar breakfast. Have the similar lunch. I know sometimes it gets boring, but it's the person that can stick through that. And if you have that guide there and that structure, you will get to where you want to be. And also, it's going to have a massive impact on the other areas of your life. Like the discipline that you build there inside of nutrition, you're just going to be a more disciplined individual overall.
That's so true.
That's
I know for me, I gave up sugar, as I mentioned. I gave up caffeine 2.5 years ago, but my downfall is cheese. And I know that's horrible. Right. So I'm not going to have those abs if I keep eating cheese. I could do 2,000 leg raises. I'm not going to have them, right?
I mean, it depends how much cheese you eat. So you have a block of cheese, then that's a situation. It's going to be difficult
What if you
for you
shred
to
the
get
block of
there.
cheese up so it doesn't look like a block anymore?
Yeah, maybe we should do that. But you can have cheese and you can have some cheese, and still get there.
Okay, perfect. I feel a little bit better, but I'm going to cut back on it because it's not healthy anyway for my heart. Dino, it has been such a pleasure having you here. How can people get in touch with you, and how can they sign up for your coaching program?
So I have a link. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. You can, add me as a friend on Facebook. That's probably the best way to get in touch with me. I have obviously a business page as well. Dino Ermogenous, but everything is Dino Ermogenous. And then if you want to, have a call and have a chat, then, message me and I'll, ask you some questions about your situation. We can set up the call and go through things and see what we can do together.
Thank you so much. I just have one more question. I could keep you here on more questions, but one question I have, and this is meant in the nicest way to the audience out there, but if you're a physician or you're a teacher, Dino, what would you suggest if you are someone in a power of authority where you have the ability to influence someone to do something or not do something? So physicians out there who, they have a patient who has a broken spine. Should they tell the person that, hey, the probability of you walking again is 0? And I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I think you should know your limits. So you shouldn't push yourself too much because you don't want to put yourself at risk of injury. There's a fine line, but you should also push yourself to the point where you get a little bit uncomfortable. But it's also a good thing because it's helping you build your body, gain strength, and start to see a physical transformation. It depends on the physician. You have to understand this as well. It depends on the physician and their mindset. Some physicians like to play it very, very safe, which is, the guidelines. They'll say, don't do this at all because we want 0 risk of injury. There's always going to be a bit of a risk at the end of the day. There's always going to be a bit of a risk. But I like to take risks. I think other people should take risks as well, but also know their own limits and also not try and do everything at once. Don't try and push yourself really, really fast. Understand that this is a process and this is going to take time. And this is a thing. People are in this mindset of they want the results straight away. They want it now. We live in a world, we want this now. In my journey, it took time. It's not like I went into the gym and I started squatting 200 pounds and deadlifting 200 pounds. I had to, start off with the very basic body weight movements and then build up from there. So there is a way, and I want people to know this, there is a way. If you feel like, you've broken something inside of your body, you've broken a bone, you're having a surgery, you're doing this. I understand that how you're feeling right now is, you don't feel too motivated. You don't really want to, work out and things like that. But just start off by doing something small at least, just to generate that momentum so you can get that motivation going. And then you will find your path. As long as you keep trying, of course, go to mentors, go to coaches. This will just help you, avoid all the mistakes. Well, not all the mistakes, or a lot of the mistakes, so you can, get to where you want to be a lot faster. So this is something I would advise. Is definitely what helped me in my life is, mentors and coaches really helped me get to where I wanted to be a lot faster and not make the mistakes that they made. So yeah, there is a way for everybody, in my opinion.
Thank you, Dino. And the fact that you've been through what you've been through, you've come up above and around, and you are there helping someone. That's the kind of coach that I think people need to work with. That's the kind of coach that I want to work with. You're the kind of coach that I want to work with. Someone who's already been there and can look back and say, hey, I was where you are. I know what you need to do, and I'm here to help you.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I try my best. I try my very best.
Well, thank you again for being here. What's next for you?
So just continue the same thing that I'm doing right now, reaching more people. I want to do some events. So now obviously the pandemic's over and stuff like that. I want to, get a little bit more face to face with people, do some events and things like that. Keep building social media. That's kind of where I'm putting most of my energy into right now these days.
Excellent. Well, we're glad that you're here and you shared your story. We'd love for you to come back. I think it'd be great if you came back on our another show of ours, Stories of Hope, Inspiration, Overcoming Adversity. So I'll reach out to you on that.
Sure.
And we do have a comment from, is it Balaram Yadav? Sorry if I didn't get that right, but hello to you. Thank you for watching. We appreciate it. So thank you again, Dino. It was a pleasure having you here, and I'll be back in touch with you. Keep up the great work.
Thanks, Jacqueline. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye. Bye.
Wasn't he amazing? Thank you so much to Philip Chan for introducing us. We really appreciate it. His story is truly remarkable. So I just encourage all of you. I know I sound like a broken record, but everybody has difficult things they have to deal with. I have 3 autoimmune illnesses, and every day just getting to be on this green screen is a major effort for me, but I keep doing it. And I hope that you will too, because if we don't push ourselves, no one else will. And if we don't push ourselves, we're never going to know what's out there for us. We have 3 more shows today. The next one starts in an hour. And it's Pet Psychic Amina, although Amina has the day off. So I will be acting in her place without any psychic abilities whatsoever. And we have 2 great guests, Dottie Boone and Trish Robichaud. We also have Stories of Hope, Inspiration, and Overcoming Adversity. And Trish will also be my guest. She has a very personal journey. She's going to share with us what she's been through, what she's been living with. And then our last show of the week, number 16, is the variety show with my co-host, Lori Mendelson. And our guest is Andrew Mondia. And I haven't had the pleasure of meeting him yet, but I'm very excited. He's an author, a speaker, and he's also a comedian. Thank you for being here. Be kind to each other. Be kind to yourselves. Give yourself grace, and just whatever it is you're going through, just realize that's what it is today. One moment in time. And hopefully we'll have that next moment where things will be better. Great seeing you, and thanks again.